TruthSeekah and/or its affiliates are not responsible for any strange phenomena that may occur during or after listening to this podcast, which may include the following: heightened senses of awareness, psychic abilities, UFO sightings, alien contact, time loss, out-of-body experiences, ringing in the ears, ESP, lucid dreaming, increased synchronicities, astral projection, telepathy, stronger intuition, levitation, miraculous healings, and/or remote viewing. Please be advised to listen at your own discretion.
Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? To a place to walk on troubled seas, faith to stand when I don't believe. I just wanna be with you. Won't you come and take me away? I just wanna be with you. Won't you come?
You are now locked into the TruthSeekah podcast.
Gargoyles, psychics, everything's ungodly. Dark's at it.
Streaming live at TruthSeekah.com.
She's not a Christian.
Give it up, y'all.
Your portal to the paranormal, esoteric, and all things spiritual.
She's tampering in dark's at it stuff.
And now, your host, TruthSeekah.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm your host, TruthSeekah. This is the TruthSeekah podcast. Excited to be here with you all. Delighted to be here. It's going to be good. We're going to cover all things spiritual. Is what we do. We're going to talk about spirituality. We're going to talk about the law of attraction and the secret, but it doesn't stop there. See, a lot of people stop there just thinking about lofty ideas and thinking about it, which is cool. I think that's a starting place. But our guest today, we're going to talk about how to rewire the brain so that your brain in your life is a perfect garden for the things to grow and what you want to bring into reality, what you want to manifest. So we're going to dive deep into that today. It's going to be good. It's what we need, especially going into 2022, man. 2022 is the year of dreams fulfilled. And if you believe that, type yes, type amen in the chat. Let me know where you're listening from. Shout out to everybody listening live on all of the social media apps, Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitter, all those cool places. Twitch, man, shout out to you guys and the people listening on the podcasting apps. You guys rock. I want to say a huge thank you to everybody supporting via Patreon. This is a listener-funded, listener-supported show. Doesn't exist without your help. So thank you for believing in the work and co-creating this. Everybody's showing up and making this thing possible. Not only the podcast, but the music and the books and the resources and the community that we're forming here. And all of that's a gateway to get to through Patreon. Patreon.com/TruthSeekah. If you would like to support, you unlock perks, you unlock rewards. There's our Thursday night School of the Mystics, Sunday morning breathwork session, and a bunch of other really cool stuff. My entire discography of music, behind the scenes stuff, extra interviews, all of that. Go check it out. We are working on a community forum right now that is in beta, so we're still building it, but some of the pieces are there. So if you want to be one of the first ones to sign up, if you are a patron, you get access to that. But go to truthseekah.com/forum as well, and you will be able to access that. So I'm super excited the way we're able to put the content there, showcase it, and be able to grow in dialogue and community there. It's awesome. I've been trying to make this happen for years and finally found the right integrations to do it. So I've been busy with that. So man, thank you guys for believing in the work and supporting. You make it possible. Shout out to some of the latest patrons within the last week or so. I'm gonna give a shout out to Hunter Perner. Thank you, Hunter, for coming on. You rock. Brandy Inglet. Thank you, Brandy, for coming on. I saw you join the Discord as well. And the newest patron yesterday, Mikael, I believe I pronounced that right, man. Thank you guys for believing in the work. Without further ado, we're going to go ahead and jump into today's discussion. My guest today, ladies and gentlemen, is Mr. Bob Doyle. Bob, welcome to the TruthSeekah podcast, my friend. How are you doing?
It's great to be here. I'm doing well, thanks.
Good to have you, man. People may notice you or remember you from such works as The Secret and The Law of Attraction and all of those works that became famous, and you've been constantly working ever since. So I guess for people who don't know who you are and are brand new to all of this stuff, even that term, right, The Secret or Law of Attraction, like there's newcomers to this. Just kind of give a brief description, intro, who you are, what you bring to the table. We'll start there.
Sure. Well, The Secret was a movie that came out 2005, 2006, makes me feel super old. But it was about the law of attraction, this ability that we have to create our lives by design. And it was a lot of information around energy and vibration and visualization and all of those fun things that people associate with the law of attraction. And I got into that work as a result of just sort of trying to find a career that I enjoyed. I grew up wanting to be a broadcaster, knowing that that was what I was going to do. I studied it and I did it for 7 years. I was in radio in Atlanta. But what happened was I was so low on the ladder at the time in Atlanta that I really couldn't do all the creative stuff that I wanted to. And really what drives me is creativity and creative self-expression. I'm sure you get it. And if you don't, and I really feel like this is a big problem with most people, is that the reason people are depressed, the people that are angry and upset and dealing with disease, is because they have not been able to find a way to express what is inside them to express. And so I was feeling that in all of my jobs. And when I quit radio, I jumped around from career to career, and nothing was feeling good. And I'm getting kind of like, well, is this my life? What's going to happen here? And so I went from trying all the tactical things and the logical things, trying to start businesses and that type of thing, to and nothing working logically, to then I thought, well, maybe there's something sort of invisible going on that I don't know. And so that's what had me go down the metaphysical path in the first place and learn about meditation and visualization and this whole concept that we could create our reality. Now, it's a pretty long story that got me to the law of attraction, but let me just sum it up by saying I got there. I read enough about the quantum, excuse me, I'm so sorry, the physics of our thoughts. And I realized I had this awakening that no matter what I was saying out loud about what I wanted in my life and how I wanted it to look, what was going on inside me were beliefs around money and success that weren't in alignment with that. Because I grew up in a situation where, it was a single parent home. There was always debt. There was never enough money. And my mom hated her job. And so what was wired into me, into my belief system deep, was that, money's hard to come by. Debt's always going to be there. And it doesn't matter if you like what you do or not. You just got to do what you got to do to make a living. Yeah. So as an adult, though, even though I consciously wanted something else, that was what was inside me. Now, I wasn't thinking about wiring and all of that back then. I was thinking about energy and all these other things that are associated with the law of attraction. But regardless, it got me to shift my attention. It got me to shift my predominant thinking. And I did all the law of attraction stuff, like created a vision board and all these things. And I started to see results with it. And as I got results, I got excited about it. And I already had experience online teaching things like putting together programs. So I put together this little tiny program called Wealth Beyond Reason that was 95% other people's material. And I was more facilitating the sharing of it. But early on in that journey, I made a decision, and this is key to the whole message here today. I made a decision that instead of being somebody who was a facilitator, just sort of channeling other people's stuff, is that who I wanted to be in this conversation was someone who could effectively communicate these principles to as many willing, open minds as possible, which was the key thing. I didn't want to argue the law of attraction or debate the law of attraction with people. That's way too much energy. But if someone wants to learn, I wanted to help them get there. And when I made that decision that this is who I am, not someone who I aspire to be one day if all the stars line up, that's when the download started. That's when I started to see things on a whole different level. And the content of the program became 95% me and 5% other people, and it became massive. And it was, I believe, one of the most complete sort of resources on the law of attraction, because we were approaching it from just about every angle you could imagine, grounded in science as much as we possibly could. Because for me, it was the science that had me flip the switch and be able to get results, because I wasn't going to just take this sort of pie in the sky idea. I wasn't going to allow myself to integrate it until I could see some logic behind it. That's just how I was wired. But once I did, I had this idea, well, if I could just teach everybody what I learned and give them that aha moment, then they'll get it too. So anyway, the program got huge. And then when Rhonda Byrne, who created the movie The Secret and later the book, was researching this information because of whatever was going on in her life, she found me, and that's how I ended up in the film. So for the past 20 years, I've been teaching law of attraction and all these techniques and processes and doing coaching and speaking and training on all that. But a couple of years ago, I realized that people as a whole who are law of attraction enthusiasts, I think the vast majority struggle with it. They're not getting the results. They're very excited about it. But what I realized is people are just obsessing over the law of attraction and not the most important thing, which is themselves. Who do they want to be? They're so focused on what can I get? What stuff can I attract with this law of attraction thing, not realizing that if they don't change who they're being in the world, then the universe can't do its thing. You know, it's not enough to just sit there and think about things and visualize things, as you suggested in the intro. We have to also take action, but it's action that has to be in alignment with the person that we need to be to attract those things. So what determines who we are? What determines who we're being? Well, it is how our brain is wired. I mentioned that, I grew up in an environment where I learned that money's hard to come by. Well, other people grow up in environments where that's not the truth at all. Money's no problem. So there's no real truth about money and whether or not it's hard or easy to come by. It's what you allow based on your wiring, and that wiring will dictate the action you take. It will dictate the meaning that you make out of every situation. And the meaning you make will determine whether or not you're going to do this or that or not do it or talk yourself out of it or whatever. So the results you have in your life, bottom line, are the result of who you're being, the action you're taking, the things you're saying, all of it. So if you're not happy with how your life is, instead of focusing on why isn't the law of attraction working for me? Why did I get my vision board right? Or, oh no, I had a negative thought. We need to focus on who we want to be way before we determine what we want. Because if let's say we see The Secret and we get all excited about manifesting stuff and we're in a bad state at that point. Maybe we're in a huge lack mentality. Well, the things that we want at that point, the things that we're going to put on our vision board may very well be based on the problem that we're trying to solve. That's not how we want to approach this. Because energetically, we're sending out this signal that we have this problem, but it's also how we're going to show up in the world. So my work now is it's not about the law of attraction is still a thing and it's awesome and I love it, but it's not where we should be putting so much focus. It's like gravity in that, and I'm not using it's a law thing. It's just, we don't focus on gravity to make the glass drop if we open our hand. It just does it. And the law of attraction is going to do its thing if we do our job. And our job is to be the person that is going to get those results. And then the universe, if you will, can bring us those situations, but we have to take the appropriate action. So my work now is about allowing people to see who they need to be, recognize their current wiring so that they can see how they are on autopilot, and then learn to make conscious decisions on a consistent basis so that their brain is rewired so they'll take the action that they need to take to get the stuff they want. That's it in a nutshell, what I'm doing.
It almost sounds like you're trying to help people think several steps ahead, because if it's that thing of you got to the level, but you haven't done the work to keep it. Like you got the money, you got the girl, but you're not positioned to keep it or to carry it or to keep moving. The thing that you were working hard to get, you got it, but your character can't your charisma got you there, but your character can't keep you there. So it almost seems like thinking, 7 steps ahead to make sure that once I get this thing, I'm going to be faithful with it. I'm going to continue to cultivate it. And I'm good ground for this thing to grow and expand versus I need to land that job. People find the job and then they lose it the next week, or they find the job and then, they haven't cultivated that character that it takes to, like, everybody can get there, but not everybody can keep it. That's huge right. with this thing, right?
Yeah. And your character is a function of your wiring too. I mean, that is what we're trying right now. I talk about effortlessly manifesting. But we're effortlessly manifesting whatever we've got right now. Most of us are especially if you're new to this conversation, everything you're manifesting is happening as a result of who you're being, and you're being it effortlessly because it is your current wiring. What we want is to teach you how to effortlessly manifest the things you actually want, not the stuff you don't want. And that's going to come when you actually change the structure of your brain. So much of this is biology. I mean, we are an energetic miracle. There's no denying that. I mean, we are an extension of the universe, and people really need to understand that it's not the universe and us. We're not trying to get the universe to do something for us, although most people, that's how they're approaching it. And they have these ideas like, well, I guess the universe doesn't want it for me, which is ludicrous. We are a physical extension of the universe. We allow the universe to experience itself. The universe itself is right. It's just an ever expanding ocean of energy. I mean, the science tells us this, right? We're basically empty space. However, the way that this energy is configured in human form, we have all of our senses, we have feelings, we have passions, we have things that that we want to do in our lives, and it's unique to each of us. We are a freaking miracle. And the biggest miracle we have is our brain, because our brain is really this, it's the lens. It determines the lens through which we see the world.
That's good.
And the best part is it's very plastic. We can change it. We have been wired how we are, mostly on autopilot and unconsciously. And we continue to wire ourselves and confirm that wiring on an unconscious basis. The only way we're going to make permanent lasting change in our life, where we can hang on to the thing that we attract, is to change our wiring so that our default way of being is consistent with that.
Yeah.
If we just, like you said, charge our way in there and force our way in there, but we haven't changed the core functionality in here, we're going to still do our same behaviors, and that stuff's just going to go away.
Is that what they call imposter syndrome, where people get into a place but they're like, I'm not supposed to be here. I'm not worth this. This isn't, I got this too fast. Is that where that comes in?
Well, I think that's definitely one way that it shows up. The imposter syndrome is extremely huge. I mean, I've dealt with it. I think everybody I've ever worked with in this industry has dealt with it. It's a normal thing because, our wiring, especially as adults, has been in place for decades. And now we're introducing a new concept. We're experiencing a new way of being. And so all of our old wiring is saying, wait, that's not who we are. And that in that moment, it's true, but we can override that by sending consistently new messages. The problem with personal development in general, and the reason that it fails so miserably for most people, is this issue of wiring. People don't stick with whatever they're doing long enough to get the wiring to take place. It's biological. It takes time. And we've got this idea, again, because of the industry, that it should only take this long. Hey, it's a 3-day, 7-day, 14 days, 30 days. And there's no way anybody in this industry can know when you are going to be rewired. They don't know your past. They don't know all the complexities of your wiring. But what we can do is provide an environment where you consistently send yourself new messages, get the support you need, so that you can look at the world through a different lens. This is what coaching is all about. If you are a person, you're wired this way, you can only see what you can see. You can only make the meaning of what you can make because of your experiences. But it's not true. It isn't necessarily true, and other people can show you a different way.
Yes,
but the support needed it's significant to make permanent lasting change in a quick and efficient way. This is what we're talking. We can ease from being one person to another very easily. I mean, if you look at who you were 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, we've definitely changed key aspects of who we're being. I can look back in my past and go, how did I ever justify that behavior? Or how could I stand for, but that was my wiring then. But over the course of time, you get introduced to new ideas, they get in there, they cultivate, and your wiring changes. What my work is about is being intentional about that, not letting it happen on autopilot, but saying, no, this is what I want now. So let's get to it.
Yeah. Something about, what you're saying is if you can see it, you can be it. And having that example, working with a coach, of what's possible, because we got all this crazy programming that's just like, and it's truth for us though. It's gospel truth. It's,
yes.
I mean, there's biblical scriptures that back a lot of like weird beliefs that we have that, you were talking about being stuck at like a dead end job or not liking your job. I remember, always hearing that, because Adam sinned, we have to work by the sweat of our brow. And that literally meant me working at a job that I hated, sweating out in the heat in a ditch, digging holes in ditches all day, which I did. And I was like, well, and I would try to like talk to people like, yeah, I want to be this. Well, because of Adam, you got to do this. But it's not until what that other guy's not doing this. What about Adam for him? Well, he's not. It's like, hold on, this isn't adding up. But when you see something like, hold on, Bob Doyle is operating at a level that I wanna operate at. How do I do it? And there's steps that you took, and that's why you hire a coach to be able to coach you on steps and goals to make it, all of that. But to identify the things in you that you're going to be able to keep it once you get to it. But that's huge, just being able to see it in somebody, because now there's no excuses really, right? Because I'm a big Bible guy. The scripture says that God is not a respecter of persons. There's no reason why it should work for Bob, but doesn't work for me. Like the system works if we work it, kind of thing, right?
It's true. See, our brains, we all have the human brain, and for the most part, genetic defects aside or something like that, we all have the ability to rewire this thing, right? But we have to know what we're going to rewire it with, and we have to know. And here's the other thing: people have to understand that this kind of growth, this kind of change, comes with discomfort. Everything that was non-negotiable in our life that we needed to learn, like walking and reading and writing and all those things, came with a lot of mistakes, quote unquote failures, all these things. But did we stop? Did we say, oh, I guess the universe doesn't want me to walk? No, we didn't do that because it was non-negotiable. And so what we need to do with our visions and our goals is make them non-negotiable.
Yeah.
And understand that part of the growth process is the discomfort of learning new things. Again, there's brain stuff that's happening. You are creating new neural pathways. Whenever we reach the limits of our wiring, we're going to feel the discomfort. And for some people, that they make it mean that it's a sign that the universe doesn't want it for them, or that it's not for them, when actually it is a sign that you are right there at growth. You should be celebrating the discomfort, celebrating all the resistance, celebrating all the noise that comes up in your head, because you're identifying, this is my limited wiring. Hooray. What's a better thought than this? But the problem is that it feels so unnatural for people to think the opposite of what they've been believing, that it just feels too weird. They feel like a fraud. They feel like they're lying to themselves, and they don't do it. But that's how, unfortunately, that's what sabotages them. They stop for some reason that makes sense to them. Using their experience and their wiring, they logically conclude this isn't going to happen for them. It's not true at all. That's why they need the reinforcement and other ideas. But really what they need to do is get, like you said, they need to see something that inspires them.
Yeah.
That's who I want to be. And this is why, and this is what I'm going to accomplish as a result of being this. They need to see all of that. If they don't, then it's going to be way too easy for them to stop along the way.
Yeah. For those who are looking for excuses, you'll find them, and listen, working with people make up excuses, man. They make up, like, why you can't keep using that same excuse, especially when there's other people who are in worse situations, who have like pulled themselves up and did the work, and it worked for them. I've tried to be like an example of what is possible, right? And my whole story, just like, working a job that I hated and thinking that I was going to be there the rest of my life, and then stepping into full-time podcasting and full-time music at the age of 33 and so much. But I champion the work that has been out there in the public eye, because it's been a spectacle. People have laughed at it and mocked me. You'll never do it. Oh, what you're saying? What you're interviewing? Who? Then all of a sudden, wow, you get to wake up and talk to whoever you want for a living. Mm-hmm. You get to wake up and work on music. Like, that's why I was here. You got to figure out the reason why you're here. You got to get clear on what you want to manifest and actually bring into this place, and then think ahead of how you can do it. Because I think with the law of attraction, people, they just get with the thinking, okay, I want to be a podcaster, but that's it. Like they think it, they see it, they write it down, they draw pictures, but there's other steps that you've kind of mapped out that for that person getting started, that is going to save them a lot of time and a lot of trouble, right?
Yeah, we'll see the whole, and then add to that and then feel like you have it now. Now, all of that is all good advice, but the problem is people will treat it like a program or an exercise. They'll meditate on it for 30 minutes a day, but then they go right back to the old way of thinking and waiting for the universe to catch up with their 30 minutes. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
It does not work that way. You have to continually do that. And again, yeah, it's going to be challenging, but you can get excited about it. That's a reframe. And so much of this is about reframing beliefs about how long it should take, or what it should feel like, or how easy it should be based on what somebody said. Everybody's journey is different. You just celebrate it all. Like you said, as long as you take the consistent action, eventually it's going to change up here. And all those people who were mocking you and all of that, that's all normal. What we have, whenever I work with people, I have them take a quiz. It's a 60-second quiz called the Transformation Personality Type Quiz. And it identifies personality types as it applies to personal transformation only. And based on those types, each of those types have certain behaviors that aren't necessarily bad or anything. And just because you have this type doesn't mean you're going to sabotage your success. But if you are having problems, you feel like you're self-sabotaging, you feel like you're not getting anywhere, knowing your type shows you your current wiring. And if you're going to make a conscious choice to do something different, you need to know what you're doing now. And most people are completely unconscious of it because they just think it's their truth. And one of those types is the people pleaser. And that's what we're talking about. When people around you start to diss your ideas and say, oh, who are you to do that? Yeah. The people pleaser will very often bail on their journey because they don't want these people to be uncomfortable, or they're uncomfortable being doubted and all of that stuff. So, but what the people pleaser needs to understand is if they stop their journey because of what other people say, nobody wins. Yeah. Right. A lot of times they want to keep other people comfortable. Well, nobody's comfortable here in this situation. They're not going to get comfortable because you're not following your dream. They're uncomfortable already, or they wouldn't be telling you can't have your dream. And of course, if you rationalize giving up your dream and stopping taking action because of other people, you're basically sacrificing the life you're here to live. Yeah. You said something about people need to figure out what they want. And that's a sad state of affairs. It should be the most natural thing because we're born with it. We grow up as kids and we go, oh, I want to do this. I want to do this. I want to do this. And then we're told all the reasons we can't. So now we're scared as adults to even dare dream. And we tell ourselves and others and our coaches, I don't know what I want. I don't know who I want to be, and we got other people who chase their purpose. They spend decades trying to figure out what they're here for. And you get to decide. That's the beauty. You get to make that decision. It's you were born with it. You get to decide who you want to be. You could change who you're being every day, in theory. But if you want it to stick, then you need to be consistent, send new messages, make new meaning, give up old stories. You mentioned that, the excuses. People have a really hard time giving up their old stories about why they can't have it and the situations. Well, you don't understand because I grew up with this and that and the other thing. Great. You want to keep telling that story? Fine. You're always going to stay right there. You have to be willing to let go of those stories because they've become your identity. And if that's your identity, then of course you're not going to behave in the way that you need to get these results. Now, you can remember your story, especially, but not be attached to it. But what I'm talking about, when you're attached to your story and you keep telling it over and over, when I get somebody in a program where I'm coaching them and they tell me their story, I'm like, great, that's the last time you are going to tell that story. Let's come up with another story that's more empowering.
Now, what if they keep doing it though? What does that tell you as a coach if they're not taking the advice? Hold on, we got to get clear. If you want to move forward, you got to quit telling that story. And I'm trying, but they keep doing it. What does that tell you?
I ask them why. So why is this a non-negotiable goal for you? And if it's not, then we need to get it there. But if it is, they need to just talk themselves into it. We need to have a conversation to get them so inspired. The question I used to ask all of my clients was, they have to be able to answer the question, why must I do this? Not why would it be cool? Yeah. But why must I do this? Then it's easier to become non-negotiable when you can make it bigger than yourself. Like, what's the impact going to be on your family, the people, the community? Make it bigger than you, and it's easier to make it why must I do this, to see the big vision. But if it's just about you and you keep it all in here, then again, if you've got any self limitations, any beliefs about deserving, which is a whole fallacy, we don't need to deserve any of this. We're here. We're here. The universe put us here with the brain, the passions, the ability to take action, all of these things. That's it. There's no deserving. That's not about worth. Yeah. Do it. That's how you say thank you to your creator.
I think so. Now, let me ask you this, because, once you get clear and you have non-negotiables, I had to get clear. I had to get some non-negotiables in my life. What does it look like, and what is it? Because you can easily become an opportunist. So what does it look like for friends and for people who have been in your life for years, who are those naysayers, who are those, hey, you they don't want to, like, you succeeding makes them, it sheds light on them saying no to their dream or not being successful. And so you got to change. You got to like stop talking to those people. You got to stop like answering the phone calls and it's friends. So it's like, oh, you're changing and you're becoming somebody you're not, and not in the realm of an opportunist. Like, I only want people around me that I can benefit from, right? Friendships kind of work both ways, but when it's time to get clear, like there's some things, hold on, like if you threaten what's coming, my future and what I'm working hard to get, then we can't be friends, and I'll like it's over in a heartbeat. And I've had to deal with a lot of that. Like I have to cut people out of my life, and it's like it almost seems like an opportunist though, because I cut you out of my life because you became a threat to where me and my family were headed financially, socially and all of this kind of stuff. But it almost makes me feel like an opportunist in a sense, like I'm only gonna, I can't deal with those little people anymore because they're stuck in level 1 or something,
Well, that is just a mindset. That is one way to look at it.
They're a liability though, in a sense.
They are a liability if you allow them to be, for sure. It's about a lot of it is about setting boundaries and so on. And I think all of us who have moved through upper levels, we've had to say, we've watched relationships evolve. Now, this wiring that evolving relationships or a relationship ending is bad, that's all just a societal thing that everybody made up. People come in and out of our lives all the time. We put significance to certain relationships, or we feel guilty about, oh, my friend, I've known him for 30 years, but every time you get together, you feel like crap on the other side of the conversation.
Yeah.
This is not, you've got a tie to this person that is not, it's based on some weird wiring that doesn't make sense, and it doesn't serve you and it doesn't serve them.
Yeah.
Again, the best thing you can do for any of these people is to go freaking succeed, because they're either going to be inspired by it and say, oh, wow, okay, I see what's possible, or they're not. But you're not responsible for other people's path, whether that's your family, your spouse. It just doesn't, it's tough sometimes. That's the people pleaser type is the most emotionally tough one. Yeah. Because they don't want to give up on these relationships because they think it's bad, or that, oh, I'm being selfish because I want to do this and they don't want to. That's just weird wiring that we've gotten. We're here to live the best life. We got the one chance. So let's make the very, very best of it. And if we rationalize for any reason not doing that, that's just it's where it's going against why we are here. And that's why it feels so bad. The universe is ever expanding. We're a part of the universe, which means we're here to expand and grow. If we stop ourselves, which we have the ability to do, that's part of the gift. We can stop it if we want to. And that's what we're doing. If we stop that, then of course it's going to show up. We're going to feel depressed. We're going to get angry. We're going to get resentful. We might bring up disease because we're not expressing what it is for us to express. And biologically, it wreaks havoc on us. The stress and the impact it has on our body and our happiness level and all of it.
Yeah. What you said about, the fear of judgment, right? There's a lot of people, and I hear that all creators on all levels still feel that sometimes when they release something new, there's that egoic thing that's trying to save you. Hey, don't do it. They're going to laugh at you. Remember that one time you failed 20 years ago? It's going to happen. It like the ego is trying to save you, but you got to identify that voice because people are scared that they're going to talk about you. And yeah, they are. But the fact of the matter is they already are talking about you, like saying no, being miserable, working a job that you hate, all of those things. So you got to get over the fact that people are going to gossip and talk about you. If they're doing that, that's just in their DNA, and that's just what they do. Another thing you're talking about, like being able to see it from two different points of view. I talked about the idea of being jealous, and I know we hate that word. Oh, you're jealous of that guy? And I've come to grips with that term. It's like, yeah, I looked at certain people's lives and I got jealous. And I mentioned like going to go and get tattooed in these tattoo shops where these guys are making a lot of money doing what they love, drawing on people. And the energy is so uplifting. They're listening to music. They're telling jokes. They love what they're doing. And I got to leave and go back to a job that I hate and I loathe. And I've been there for 10 years. I was jealous. I look at spiritual teachers and podcasters who get to wake up and do what they love for a living. Like I got jealous because like, I want to do that. I want to do that. But it's what you do with that jealousy. You can become a hater. You can become a naysayer. Oh, they're only there because they don't know how to work. Or you can use that jealousy energy and say, hey, how can I bring this into my life? How can I wake up and love what I do for a living, right?
You just need to transmute the jealousy into inspiration. Allow those people to inspire you into action rather than to make you feel defeated. It's such a small, it's like such a thin line between those two to feel jealous, like, oh, I could never have that. But if you understand the brain science, if you understand neuroplasticity, if you understand that you're a human being and your brain can change, which is the only message I'm saying right now, your brain can change. That's it. The law of attraction was filled with complicated stuff, vibration and resistance and all those techniques and all of these things. And it confuses people. And it slows them down because they're freaking trying to get it right. All you need to know is your brain can change, and what changes your brain is, new information on an ongoing basis. But we've learned that whole jealousy thing, and that's wiring. And it's not true for everybody. Some people get triggered with the jealousy. Some people get inspired. It's just what was your past? So we're here to help you see the inspiration in those things. What is it about that job? What is it about those people that is inspiring you? You know what? You're making me remember that this was a huge part of my story early on, because I was working in a job I didn't like, and I would go to like a band, for example. There was a band called Cowboy Mouth years ago. I don't know if you know that
man,
band,
heck yeah, dude.
So Fred LeBlanc, he inspired me to no end because he clearly freaking loved what he was doing. His music was filled with positive messages. The energy was amazing.
when they play live. They have fun.
So much fun. And I would sit there and I'm like divided in the middle of having fun and feeling depressed, because I'm going, that's what I don't want to, I don't need to drum, but that level of expressing himself just fearlessly. He didn't care what anybody thought about anything, just out there. And that inspired me, not because I wanted to act like him, but because I wanted to act like me. I wanted to be able to be the person. And it was years before I found that. And it was, the internet and being able to be a broadcaster, even in the work that I'm doing now. I told you originally that was my goal. And then I got into The Secret. And then I went through this sort of identity crisis for a while right after, because I felt like I needed to be like Bob Proctor or Jack Canfield or these people who'd been in the industry for decades. And I was like in it for 3 years. And I had this idea that I needed to be this, and my silly aspect and my entertainment aspect, all of that was just not going to fit. This was just a limiting belief that I had. And so there was a while there where I look at some of the marketing material I did and how I occurred on video. I'm going, who is that guy? Like, there's just no personality. It's so flat. It was when live streaming came along. Periscope, you mentioned. I can't believe it's still out there. But
they just changed it to like Twitter video, I think they call it. They just like within a month,
But it changed my life, because then I could just really be me, and I'm having a conversation with real people, and it was like the connection. Like, all my career had been one way, digital programs, out. There was none of the real exchange. But this live streaming and being able to form communities online, like in Facebook and stuff, and getting to know people, it brought the fun back. It brought the creativity back, and the technology like we're using here. I can do so much crazy crap with video now and audio. And like, so all that creativity that I wanted to express, I can do and give my message. So, but I had to define I had to be clear on who do I want to be in this conversation? Because if I couldn't find the fun, I was out.
So identifying where we want to go, which part of the process is identifying what's holding us back? Is that like step 2, or is that the very beginning? What's saying no? Like,
we go back to the quiz. That's one of the things that shows people their autopilot wiring, that's in essence, what is their no mechanism? Mm-hmm. It shows them, okay, this is how I behave at this point in my journey. And that's where I start saying no to myself. We need to change that. We just need to eliminate that no. We need to understand that that's just an autopilot response. It's completely understandable that you have that response. So don't make yourself wrong for it. This is your wiring. So the question is, do you want to change it? If you don't, if you're happy with it, whatever, if it's not getting you the results you want, though, are you willing to change certain aspects of how the stories you tell yourself or the meaning you make something? And are you willing to take on the work? And if so, we can provide the coaching, we can provide the community, because we were talking about the people. If you're going this solo, and you don't have a community that's supporting you and believing in you and cheering you on when the going gets tough, it's way too easy to bail. So over 20 years of doing this, I've learned the various aspects of transformation that I think are very, very important to see through success. And so when I work with people, I give them all the elements. But we need a commitment. You've got to have a commitment, because you can't get in here and expect to rewire in 3 days, right? It's like you need to understand enough of this. I don't get real deep into brain science. Like I know you talked to John Assaraf about a year ago or whatever, and all those guys, they go deep into the brain science. And that's great. But I also don't want people to get so fixated on the science of it, like they did the law of attraction, that they're off focus. All you need to know is your brain can change. How do you want to change it? Let's paint that picture. Let's get something that inspires you, and realize that as you begin to paint that picture, all sorts of resistance is going to come up. All sorts of voices are going to go off in your head. And that's normal. It's not a sign you're not supposed to do it. It's not a reason to quit. It is a reason to move forward.
For sure, for sure. When you start hitting those brick walls, it's easy to jump into that. Well, maybe I'm not supposed to be doing it. Like that's something you gotta know deep down in your soul if you're supposed to be doing it or not. Like just because you face opposition or resistance, like I feel like the opposition and the resistance are like the veils that you have to pass through to say yes, to kind of prove to the universe and prove to yourself that you really want it. Because there was this opposition. There's so many reasons to say no. There's so many reasons not to, but I'm going to take a step forward. I'm going to say yes anyway. And then you're talking about just something that simple. I feel like that's a part of rewiring. It's like, oh, hold on. He's getting serious now.
Well, all those reasons that you give yourself, you get those reasons because of your wiring. And it's all faulty. In any reason you come up with, any logic that says you can't go be that is all a lie. Because of course you can. It may take time. Like you may need to learn a whole new skill, right? To be the person you want. So that means you're going to put years into learning the new skill. So do it. Because if you don't start, you'll never get there, right? And enjoy the journey and enjoy the learning and enjoy the feedback. And instead of calling feedback failure, just call it feedback. It's like, okay, that didn't work. So now I get to do it this way. If the inventors in the world took the same approach to inventions and technology and advancement that we take toward personal development, we'd still be in a freaking cave. Because, I tried 3 things and it didn't work. I mean, you hear the Edison light bulb 10,000 times. The iPhone wasn't created in a day. This stuff takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of research. It takes a lot of effort, but it's worth it, right? You know that when you get there, it's going to be so worth it. And so that's why again, with our brain, we have this amazing gift of visualization. It's unique to us. We get to create images and pictures and feelings and sounds in our mind that aren't even out there in the physical. And when we run those scenarios in our brain, which a lot of us are doing negative ones on autopilot, it just reinforces our wiring. So if we get into the habit of sending different positive visions through our head on a regular, consistent basis, not just 30 minutes a day, but throughout the day, catching our autopilot wiring, replacing it with something that serves us better, then over time, our brain will biologically rewire. And those old neural pathways that have defined the truth that we saw, that has kept us limited and telling the old stories, they'll again, this is biology. They'll just dwindle. They won't be as strong. They will no longer be your default network. And the new one will be. And then you'll look back at your old thinking and go, how could I have thought that? It will seem so foreign to you, even though right now it feels like your truth. But that's the nature of rewiring.
It seems to be layers like an onion though, because you gain ground in one area and then another area is revealed to you. But the thing about it, you get, like you said, you get to look back. Oh, wow, I can't believe we did that. I remember doing a podcast recently with somebody and I talked about personal transformation. I was talking about, ascension, just trying to spiritualize it or whatever, because it is spiritual. It is mundane. It's all those things. It is in your mind. It's everything. It's all of it. But they were talking about just the state of the world and how everything looks bad and everything's going downhill and our leaders are bad. It was like, hold on, that's the 1%. Like the majority is like, we're saying yes. We want evolution. We want to evolve. We want to become better people. We want to learn from our mistakes. And they couldn't see it. And I was like, well, just look at slavery. Like I can't fathom slavery. at all. I can't. But my daughter and her generation, it's not even a concept.
Right.
But at some agreed upon generations before me, it was normal.
Yes.
And now we look back, it's like, we used to do what?
Yes.
You had a person that lived in a shed behind your house that cleaned up what'd you do? You treated them how? You fed them what? Pig guts. They ate pig guts? Yeah, that's all we had to give them. Wow. And so we look back at that. That's personal transformation by yourself. But then the more people do it, the collective transform. And not you get to look back at yourself and like, damn, I can't believe I used to believe that or say that. But us as a people, as we do it together, we get to look back and say, I can't believe we let that happen, kind of thing, right?
It's true. I think one of the things that The Secret did, one of the great benefits of it, was that it exposed this idea to millions of people that there's more than what we're looking at, right? That we do have a little bit more control, whether you believe in the law of attraction or not, or however you approach it, that there is more, and that we can evolve. And it's just like you said, we can look at generational differences and go, how did that ever happen? Just like, our grandchildren will look at us and go, how did that happen? Right? Yeah. How could that? But that's just the nature of things. But I think a lot of people are too concerned with trying to figure out what's going on out there instead of what's going on out here, because your perception of out there starts from in here. It's like the meaning you make of world events is all based on your wiring. Yeah. And like there's stuff that I just don't even let in to my life. I mean, I don't watch the news. I don't, it's like I just methodically started unfollowing anybody on Facebook, for example, who had an opinion about this, and it was just all, flame wars. And now my environment, what goes into my brain is more like what I want. And so this is my reality. And so my reality isn't touched by all that stuff. Well, what about you're being irresponsible? I'm enjoying my life. You're freaking stressed and arguing with everybody all the time. Who wins? Right? Yep. It's like in the name of you being right or thinking that this is what's true or this is what's wrong with the world, you're having a miserable life. You're wasting your years in upset. Yeah. And you could be happy. You could be focused on creating something that contributes value to the people around you. You don't have to look at all this stuff until it affects you. I mean, so much of what's going on out in the world never really touches you. If you would just do your life, you could do your life and be completely happy. But we get so caught up in arguing and debating about this, that, and the other thing that isn't pleasant. And because we're dealing with wiring, a person's truth is their truth. You can sit there and throw logic and facts and all of that with it. If this is their wiring, you're not going to get in. Yeah. You're not. And we see it all the time. Now, how could you think this? Look at all the evidence. And then the other person's going, what are you talking about? Look at this evidence. Because everybody's got their own lens, and it's just trying to change somebody else is a freaking waste of time if they don't want to be changed.
Yep. And the only person you can change
is you. Yourself. And then when you do, this is the miracle of this. Yeah. When you change yourself, it's amazing what happens to other people.
Yeah. You show them what's possible. You talk about, it changing your mind and your lens and the way that you view things. And again, I'm a big Bible guy, but this stuff is starting to make sense within the scriptures, man. It's talking about like light comes to you so that now you're without excuse. Now that you're able to see more, you've had an example that, wow, we were doing this wrong. You don't have an example. There's nothing to weigh it against until you see that testimony or whatever, somebody's life, which is a testimony like, wow, this is possible. I can get off of drugs. I can achieve my dreams. I can fall in love and be happy. Like if they can do it, I can do it. And I think that's the mindset that we need to adapt. It's not, God is not a respecter of a person's, man.
Yeah. Excuses are so disempowering, but the person feels right. Well, but see, here's why I can't have this. Mm-hmm. And that's an example of the story you got to give up. You're going to be the rest of your life? Because if I'm in a coaching relationship, and this rarely happens, but if a person is just so married to their story that they're not going to give it up, there's nothing I can do for you.
Yeah. You talked about having we have to have some reassurance that you really want this. Like what is that versus working with people who don't want it and wasting your energy? Is it putting it behind a paywall? Is it, hey, you I found that, when you hire a coach, it's usually somebody who wants help, even though they're struggling or whatever, because they're willing to pay. It usually shows you, hey, this person is serious, even though they got so many excuses. Like, we kind of got to go through those excuses together, or
sometimes I think most of the time a financial commitment is sort of an energetic line in the sand, like, I'm committed to this. But there are some people who money doesn't mean that much to them, and they'll spend whatever, and they'll say, well, I did this,
and that
program
becomes
and
an
this program.
excuse.
Yeah, and it becomes an excuse. And they blame the program, or they blame the coach, or they blame whatever outside of themselves that they didn't finish the task that is ultimately rewiring. Because here's the thing, transformation, no matter what approach you take, whether it's through a purely spiritual or religious approach, whether it's the law of attraction, I don't get Tony Robbins. If your brain doesn't rewire, you're not going to stick. The transformation isn't going to stick. So you need to find the process that successfully rewires you. And so what I do now is I just go right to, what are your daily habits? What are your thought processes? Let's forget all the techniques and all the other woo-woo stuff. Let's just put that all aside. Like, I don't even talk very much about the law of attraction when I'm in my current conversation, except to say that when you do this, the law of attraction will work exactly as you want it to, and you don't have to think about it or obsess over it or any of that. It's not something to get right or wrong, but except that it's all going to be dependent. Your thoughts dictate your action. Your actions are what get results.
That's good.
It's not, now that's not to say that things like, you hear about these law of attraction manifestations that are almost miraculously quick and all that. And yes, of course it can happen, because the law of attraction is a thing. But ultimately, what you're going to get as a result of and certainly if you're going to keep it, is a result of who you're being. And little things changing who you are out in the world, like, I talk a lot about micro expressions, just these little twitches that your face will make, like, are almost indetectable for someone who doesn't know how to see them.
Wow.
But I mean, if you're talking crap, trying to make it sound like it's true, people will know that. Like, I've seen so many speakers on stage, right? They say all the right things, they walk around with their energy, and they're full of it.
Yeah.
They're not really in integrity. And it's just like, sort of, you don't really know exactly why. I think I'm probably more sensitive to it because I've been in the industry and I've met a bunch of these people, and I've seen the whole range.
Probably how you learn personas and how people, are. The funny thing is, I did a podcast yesterday. We talked about this very thing that you're bringing up of me. Even when I mentioned the Bible, I'm a Bible guy, and the Bible says this, like, sometimes my guests will take a deep breath or look out the corner of their eyes. I'm like, hold on. You're not a Bible. You're offended with the Bible. You think the Bible is BS. You think, little things, even with my guests, I'll quote a scripture or say God or whatever, and my guests will do this. I was like, oh, okay.
And sometimes, that's a big action.
Yeah.
A sigh like that is a big action, but
they'll
sometimes
just cut their eyes.
It's a twitch.
Yeah.
Something like that. And that's the reason that's important is because people will, on a psychological level, respond to that. They'll see it on some level, and it will dictate how they respond to you. So again, you've got to be 100% in integrity with who you're being out there, or people will detect it on some level, and you won't get the results you want. And that comes with the consistency and the persistence and having the wiring take place. And again, there's so much that comes up when you start to try to be somebody that you haven't been, all the resistance. And the other thing about that is resistance and all those feelings, they create chemicals in your body that flood you, and, they have an impact. And so you can even be aware, oh my God, I'm in autopilot right now. But the chemistry in your body is so huge that it's very hard to take another action. So having tools at your disposal to help you with those types of emotional eruptions are helpful. I know you talked to somebody about EFT, the tapping. That's one of the tools we use with everybody we work with, but we have 5 or 6 others that help you in the moment override the strong emotion that comes up when you start to try new behavior. Because if you don't do something to manage that, most likely you'll go back into autopilot mode, because it's what it's what's comfortable, it's what automatic, it's what seems logical in the moment.
You've got excuses that bring you back to autopilot.
Yes, right. And you got to be right. You got to be willing to. You need to see the cost of those excuses. Like, what is that costing you to stay stuck with that story? And if the cost isn't enough for you, then you'll stick with it. That's why the vision that you have needs to be super inspirational for you.
So good. Bob, if somebody goes to tptquiz.com and they fill out the 7-question quiz, what's the next step when they find out their person type? What do you call it? Character type?
Well, first, the personality, the transformation personality type, because there's lots of personality type questionnaires out there, and that's not what this is. This is strictly with personal transformation, and I'm very open to say I made this quiz up based on my experience. And so, but when they take that quiz and they see their type, what they're going to get is an understanding of their autopilot behavior and some advice on here's what you can do with that type. Because again, I'm not making any type wrong. And we all have sort of blends of these types. And you can take the quiz one day and be one type, and then another day be another type. I know I'm a good combination of skeptic and wizard. These are 2 types of the quiz. But after that, then I, once they know that and can see that, then I tell them how we help them. We have a boundless living challenge. That's the work I do. That's how I work with people. They come into this community and we give them a daily regimen. A lot of times people are like, I don't know, what do I do every day? Well, we tell you exactly what to do every day. And again, the support and all of that. So once you see your type and if you are, even if you don't know exactly who you want to be or what your big vision is, but you want to know, you want to be happy, then that's what the challenge is for. And it offers that coaching and all those different tools that you need to make that transformation stick.
Yeah, I'm trying to get through it now. And then they send the results. I took answered the 7 questions, and then now they're redirecting me. Are they going to redirect me to the answer, or do I need to go to the email?
No, it'll go right to your page, and then there'll be a video there that explains the type and that kind of stuff, and then you get a PDF.
Type P.
You're a people pleaser.
It's there, for sure.
That's the type. So I would have expected you would be a Seekah, which is seeker is another one. So there's seeker, there's people pleaser, there's skeptic, and there's wizard. And if you like, I can go through quickly.
Sure. I feel like I'm all of those though. But
yes.
Yeah, let's go ahead. Like
I said, we're all, I think we all have aspects of those, and it's beneficial to know the types, all the aspects of all the types, because we do have those traits. But generally speaking, on any given day, you're going to feel predominantly one or the other. Okay. So we talked at great length about the people pleaser already and the challenges that they have. The number one we get is the seeker, and that's the person that, is very, very much committed to personal transformation, so much so that they take every freaking program that comes along. They go to every seminar, they read every book, and they just jump around. Mm-hmm. They don't stick with the thing long enough to make the rewiring. And because some of these different, these approaches have different, you're going to be telling yourself different things. And so one rewiring effort you start might be completely sabotaged by this next one. The point is the seeker just needs to say this, I chose this program, this coach, this whatever, for a reason that resonated with me in that moment. I'm going to stick with it. Yeah. So that the seeker just jumps around. The skeptic is, and I would have tested as a skeptic had I had this quiz 20 years ago, is again, a person who wants personal transformation, but generally looks at everything, every opportunity that comes their way. And the question they ask themselves is, why won't this work? Why won't this work? And as we alluded to before, you're going to get the answers to the questions you ask. So if you ask, why won't this program, why won't this work for me? You're going to get those answers because your wiring and your logic is going to, well, because of this and this and this and this. But the skeptic could ask, the way that we coach a skeptic, because the skeptic is really drawn in this context, they don't want to look foolish, right? They don't want to make a mistake. They consider themselves intellectual. They don't want to just be, they don't want to do something goofy. And there's nothing wrong with being skeptical about things. It keeps us from doing really dumb things. But if we define ourselves at that and ask everything like, why won't this work for me? Then we're going to consistently get reasons why we shouldn't go do this thing that's going to ultimately help us. We invite the skeptic to ask the question, how could this work for me? You can still be a skeptic and ask that. You're not giving up any intellect or anything like that. You're just asking a different question. You still may get to, well, here's why, this doesn't feel good or whatever, because maybe the program's not for you. But asking, how could it work for me? You're going to get those answers. And then maybe you'll be drawn into action instead of just resisting action because you say no to everything. And then the last one is the wizard. And the wizard is the one who is a lot of law of attraction, diehard law of attraction people are that. And it goes into sort of the magical thinking. Now, I would have been skeptic / wizard, which seems completely opposite, right? The skeptic wants proof and validation of everything. And the wizard believes in sort of I was focused on the energy and the vibration, sort of the magical aspect of it. The danger that the wizard gets into is not taking enough action. They do all the vision boards. They have a lot of rituals. They do the things. They post the memes. They say all the right stuff, but it doesn't translate into them actually being the person. They're waiting for the universe to deliver the thing so that then they can be that. But if you just think critically for a second, that's never how it's going to be. Because like you said at the beginning, if you're not vibrationally ready, wired ready, whatever, for this new way, your old wiring is going to kick in, that behavior is going to, and you're going to go right back because that behavior can't support this new reality. But if you in your mind first become that person, and that's, again, that comes with the practice that a daily practice and the visualization and all those things and recognizing your autopilot. If you do that in your brain, you get to rehearse being that. One of the daily things that we have people do is at the beginning and the end of each day, it's a short little visualization exercise, call it a meditation, whatever. But at the beginning of the day, we have people, before they really start their day, they look ahead. What have I got in front of me? And where are some situations that I know that I have on my schedule or whatever, where I have historically tended to go into some sort of autopilot behavior that doesn't serve me? And how would I rather be? Well, how would this ideal version of me, how would they act? How would they respond? What meaning would they make? Would they leave the conversation? Would they, whatever? And you get to run that in your head over and over and over again. Even in The Secret, they talked about, the benefits of rehearsing something in your mind over and over and over again, because again, your subconscious doesn't know that you're not doing it. So you get to run it and run it and run it with all the feeling, very law of attraction stuff there, all the feeling. But instead of thinking about that, creating some sort of magic in the world, you're actually rewiring your brain. You're causing biological changes to take place with this rehearsal. So now when you go out in your day, well, you've rehearsed this scenario so many times in your mind, maybe 20 different ways. Now you're prepared. So when you get triggered, you get to recognize how your autopilot might pop in, but now you've rehearsed a different way of being. And the moment that you outwardly become something different, say something different, whatever it is, then the world must respond differently. Wow. Because you're giving them different things to work with. You're going to get a different response from the person at the table. Like if you're going to have dinner with mom, and every time you have dinner with mom, she triggers you and you go off into this negative space. Why do I do this? And you rehearse and rehearse her not phasing you. Then when you don't get phased, she's going to be like, well, what's going on? Right. And so the world has to respond differently. And then that's how the change eventually takes place. And then at the end of the day, we have you look back on your day and go, where did I maybe not do such a good job of redirecting my autopilot? And how would I have liked to have responded in that? And then again, you get to visualize it, embody it. And so the next time you're more likely. And over the course of time, and it doesn't even take that much time necessarily, if you really do this, you're going to start to see the results. Now, the actual wiring will take time biologically, but as long as you keep doing that, despite any discomfort, it's going to get easier and easier. And that's the nature of learning things. It becomes easier with practice.
That's so good. You train yourself and you have to
just like everything else, learning a musical instrument, reading anything. I mean, it's just everything. Yeah. You just repetition until it becomes your natural way, because your brain is ready to do that. Yeah. This idea that it's approaching transformation is like, I, who I am right now, want all this stuff. You need to become the person that you want to become, like change who the I is, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, you become a container to be able to carry that stuff that you want to attract, because you got the people who's attracting the stuff, or they're getting it by any means necessary if you want it bad enough, but they're not the right container to carry it. Their container has holes in it. And once you receive the water or the, it just,
and if they don't see that, if they're not aware of that, then there's nothing they can do. They can't change it. And that's why the quiz. And that's why, just constant reminding and constant reframing, whether it's coaching or somebody else in the community. But I've seen the thing about like the law of attraction was when people start learning about that. I've seen this so many times. They learn about it and they get excited about it. And then 3 weeks in of visualizing or whatever, I manifested a cup of coffee, and they're all excited. It took 3 weeks to manifest a cup of coffee. But with this, it's, if you can learn to catch your autopilot behavior, you can get results instantly. Like, seriously, day one. And that happens all the time in how I work with people now, because we're bypassing all the mysticism. We're bypassing all the, well, let's just see what the universe gives me. It's like we're taking proactive control over our thought processes and our responses. And we've taken a scientific approach to it. And so, of course, like I said, you have one, if you show up differently in one meeting than you normally have, you're going to see a result right away. And then you bask in that result and you say, wow, this stuff works. And of course it works. It's logical, different behavior, different responses, different reality.
That's good. Love it, man. And, you talk about mysticism, but all this stuff works hand in hand. The science is like explaining a lot of the stuff that we've believed in. I won't say a primitive, but more of it takes the woo-woo out of it. Even though the woo-woo's there, like, you can keep it, but you got to understand what's happening to your brain. You got to understand what's happening to your belief system. Yeah. Because of the stuff that you're entertaining, the
woo-woo part is science, right? There's nothing non-scientific out there. All the miracles, all that stuff. Like I said, I mean, I'm not anti-law of attraction. Yeah. I know what it is. And it has magical qualities from a human standpoint. But if we keep it in that mindset, like that it's magical or that there's a gift or you have to get it right,
hit or miss, right?
Yes. And a lot of people won't even listen to the conversation. A lot of people who could benefit, who could really powerfully transform their lives, won't listen to a law of attraction conversation because of their wiring. It's like, oh, that's a bunch of crap. This is a bunch of woo-woo magical. These people are, and that's one of the reasons. And that's one of the reasons I've changed how I lead in with this, because I want to help as many people as I can, especially people who were like me, who wouldn't have gone down the law of attraction road without being in a desperate situation or having whatever aha moment I had. Okay. But, so I want to help people who may not necessarily look at the law of attraction seriously. And then I can introduce it to them later if they want. But look, people know me from The Secret. People know I'm a law of attraction, historically a law of attraction guy. So I sort of have to address it, with people that I talk to, and so I do, but it's just not the focus. Trying to figure out the law of attraction is no longer the focus, and just understand it will happen. The law of attraction is working right now. I promise you. You don't have to activate it or turn it on, and that's or master it. Please, the stuff I see about learning to master the law of attraction. You're going to master gravity. I mean, come on. You need to master yourself.
There you go. Know yourself, know your triggers. And the thing that you said earlier too about, we talked about the people's little facial expressions when you say something or you hit a trigger, and we notice that in other people, but knowing yourself and mastering yourself is to know when you're triggered. Oh, wow. I've noticed that when he says that, my heart started beating a little bit faster. I immediately wanted to leave the room, right? These little things that are like holding us back from the place that you're wanting to go. You can't bring that stuff with you. You can't bring self-sabotage with you, owning a freaking, large company or owning a podcast, or you can't bring racism and bitterness with you on your podcast. You're going to marginalize. You probably can't bring politics. You're going to marginalize people right down the middle because you're overly zealous and passionate about something that you're going to self-sabotage over. You don't know how to. I
suppose it depends on
to yourself, the type of podcast, right?
Yeah, well, and also who you want to be your tribe. I mean, some people just want to eliminate a whole segment of people.
Yeah,
right. It's like, so they're going to be this. So basically, regardless, just do you be who you really, really want to be.
Yeah,
and you will attract the people who are in alignment with that. I mean, the big mistake a lot of people make is, and I certainly did, was trying to please everybody. Like, I just felt like the law of attraction applies to everybody. This is for everybody, but then you try to be generic. Which is what I ran into. I'm just like this stiff non-personality. I'm just a mouthpiece for this. And that was no fun for me. Yeah. And so I can't make the same connection with people. They don't feel me. If I want people to listen to me and benefit from me, I need them to know, like, and trust me. And so they're only going to do that if I'm authentic, if I'm really me, because keeping up a persona exhausting. No thanks. Like for me, it's like if you look at the other stuff I do out in the world on my Facebook timeline, my personal time, I'm a goofball. My Instagram is ridiculous. Not the secret one, but my other one. It's because I have to be playful. I have to do my voices. I have to play with crazy animations. I have to do that stuff and be that in order to make the impact I'm going to make in the world.
Got no reason for the things I feel.
There he is.
Things that plague me when I see
And he's a Cowboy Mouth fan.
Yes.
Aren't they from New Orleans?
Yes. Yes. I've known Fred since I was in college.
Wow. So good. So good. So good.
And he's a big Secret fan too.
Really? So awesome. Bob, man, thanks for coming on. Thanks for hanging out.
Pleasure.
Let people know where to go. Like if they're asking about the test. The test is tptquiz.com.
Yeah.
But there's other. Is that the main link we want to send people?
Well, if they want to get their personality type, but if they just kind of want, meetbobdoyle.com is basically what it says. It's sort of all things Bob, the different speaking training, but there's also a link to the quiz there.
Great.
So that's a good, if you just want to kind of get the big picture, but if you just want to get right to knowing what your autopilot responses are. And I again, like I said, I think if people listen to me describe the types, they probably heard themselves. They probably have an inkling of, oh yeah, that sounds like me. But then if they take the quiz, they'll get some, here's what you can do about it.
Good stuff. Well, I enjoyed it, Bob. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And I will put all those links in the show notes on the podcast and in the YouTube and all that good place. Thanks so much, man. Really enjoyed it.
Of course.
So good. Inspiring, brother. We'll do it again.
Man.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Many blessings.
All right. You too.
Bob Doyle, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys go check out his work. Make sure you check out that quiz to see what type you are. What's your type? Hey, man, what's your type? And I could see myself in almost a little bit of all of those, right? Maybe they are, personas or archetypes. Whether it's not just one, like you're only this, oh man, I wanted to be the other one. Well, if you wanted to be the other one or thought you were the other one, you might be that. So maybe it's veils that you pass through. At some point, you're a skeptic. At another point, you're a seeker. At another point, you're a people pleaser. Maybe you're all of them put together. But to be able to identify the things that hold you back, what's saying no? What's saying no? You got to be able to identify the voice of the accuser. Whatever's telling you no, tell it to shut up. I remember I was wanting to post something one day 2 years ago or something. I was wanting to share a scripture that was really near and dear to my heart at the time, and I went to post it on Facebook, and I heard something say, "Don't post it because you're gonna make people like your New Age friends are gonna unfollow you or think you're not spiritual." I don't know what it was. Something said, "Don't post it," but I knew that it was. I really resonated with it, and I was like, "Hold on, who are you to tell me not to post it? Like, what is that voice?" And because I was fitting to delete it, and I wasn't gonna post it, so I'm gonna post this because you told me no. And it wasn't the voice of God or the Holy Spirit that said, don't do it. It's a different voice. It speaks differently. It works with you differently. It is the voice of a friend. It is it's an ancient familiar voice, right? The voice that's saying, no, don't do it. The egoic voice to be a people pleaser. To be a people pleaser. Don't do it. Don't speak on that. Don't touch on that. I'm a peacemaker. So a lot of times it's easy to get those mixed. Why aren't you speaking on this? You need to speak on this subject, man. You're scared of losing your audience and you won't speak on it. No, I'm not. You speak on it. I don't have a passion or desire to speak on that issue. How about you start a podcast and you speak on it? And then people say, oh, you're just concerned with the money. You're concerned that you're going to make your fans mad or something like that. And like, no, I'm not. No, it would make people mad because it's polarizing. I try not to polarize as to marginalize a people. Nobody wants that. I don't want that. So why would I do that to an audience? Why would I do that to somebody who looks up to my music or my work? Whether it comes to politics, stuff that really ain't got, for me, I would say, has nothing to do with the price of rice in China. That's just an expression of what does my opinion matter on that when I can't really do nothing about it? And I don't think you can either. So the concepts and the things to speak on, hopefully it's to empower you, not to place fear in your heart, not to place doubt or judgment upon you or marginalize you. Like, you know, it's to empower you, man, to know that, you know, you got people out here who are just like you, who feel the same way. And you can do it. To take away your excuses. Listen, if you want to do a political podcast and talk politics or talk religion or whatever, that's the idea. Is that you can do whatever you want to do. If you want to do it, get clear. Choose a direction. And when the moment is right, pull the trigger and go. You got to keep your ideals high. You got to know that the sky belongs to no one. You know, you got to go. You got to do it. But seeing other people doing it is huge. I've been talking about this. It's so cool, like the way synchronicity works is stuff he was saying. I was literally talking about on the podcast yesterday. You know, the seasons, what's going on in the spirit, what's going on in the people's minds. It's a meme. It's something that shows up over and over again. A meme is just not some picture on Facebook or Instagram somebody stole from another person and put their name on it and shared it. That's not a meme. A meme is something that just keeps showing up in your life over and over. And those little pictures they get reshared and you see them later and they show up. That's a meme. You got to understand what is a meme in your life. What keeps showing up? That's a synchronicity. You need to pay attention. It's showing up for a reason. The types of memes. I remember when all of this weird political stuff got really charged and just all types of left and right, when Trump was in office and fighting and really driving a wedge between the left and the right. And I fall in the middle, and most of you fall in the middle. Not all of you. Some of you take a hard left and a hard right, but most of you fall in the middle because we know that the narrow road is in the middle. It's not too far on the right or the left. Too far on either side, you end up in a ditch, but it's right in the middle. There's a sweet spot. And I remember talking about the stuff that was on my timeline and like talking to my wife or talking about people talking to people on the podcast, like, man, I'm seeing all this stuff on Facebook, man, all of this police brutality. I mean, it was just all kind of extreme videos. It was extreme, whether it was stuff on the left or whatever. It was the extreme. There was never like a rational-minded person, a leftist. There was never a rational-minded person on the right. It was all these extreme people, and that's what the news wanted to exploit and to show. And I saw both. Like, I saw both on my timeline, and it was just like weird. I was like, I don't want to be a part of none of that stuff. Heck no. And I would try to talk to people on the podcast, or my wife or people, and they had no idea about these videos. You haven't saw those videos? It's all over my timeline. That video is all over my timeline. You haven't seen it? And he's like, no, I don't. It doesn't recommend me those videos. It doesn't show me, you know, all of these Trump videos or all of these whatever videos they are that keep showing up. It's because your friends are sharing them out. It's a meme in your life because of the people that you're surrounded with. Your friends like it. If they like it, the algorithm says TruthSeekah might like it because 7 of his friends liked it. Let's show it to him. Oh, he likes it too. It makes him mad, but it gets his watch time. He watches them. Wow, he doesn't watch the kitten videos. Let's show TruthSeekah's wife the kitten videos. She watches them. TruthSeekah watches police brutality videos and people getting beat up and, you know, outrageous videos. He may tell you he doesn't like them, but his watch time, his BAT, his basic attention tokens that he gives to this site, that he gives to these ads that are showing, prove otherwise, that he likes those videos because it catches his attention. His YouTube subscription feed, he doesn't watch the people he's subscribed to. He may be subscribed to them out of love or respect, but he watches these short videos of police brutality or whatever. I'm just throwing an example. And that's what we'll show him. Show him more of what he already is into. We're not trying to convert you into cat videos. We're not trying to convert you to Islam. You're already in Islam. We're going to continue to show you videos that you want to see. Islamic extremist videos, Christian extremist videos. We're going to continue to show them to you. That's what the algorithm says. That's how you're in this echo chamber, this pool of your friends believe like you believe. They're sharing it. You like it. You reshare it. Your friends. Oh, boom, boom, boom. All those people. So we're all MAGA boys, or we're all leftist dudes, or whatever it is, right? Because you're liking it, you're watching it, you're retweeting. That's a meme. Why are you seeing it? Because you're in a situation and your friends on a platform or whatever in your life, like not even social media, but in life, all of your friends are having these problems because you're surrounded by these types of people who are whatever the type of people you're surrounded by. Hopefully they're people that love you, respect you, want the best for you. What about when all your friends are haters? What about when all of your friends are, 7 levels below you? And now, again, when you succeed, you shed the light on the parts of their life that they're unhappy with and they're unsuccessful. Your success makes them feel belittled. It's not that you do. It's like, no, you're supposed to be down here with me. Misery loves company. Crab in the bucket mentality. Like, that's a thing for a reason. Crab in the buckets. If you've never heard of that expression, you don't know what it means. It's if you get if somebody's catching crab and you put them in a bucket, they actually get on top of each other and they try to get out. They'll stand on the other crab's shoulders and on top of if they have shoulders, but backs. They get on their backs and they try to get out. And one of them's pulling himself out, and the other one reaches up with his claws and he pulls them back down, and he tries to get out. And they try to use each other almost like a ladder to get out of the bucket, but not knowing if they all worked together and put their heads together, that one of them could help the other one out of the bucket. And he could come back with help with the other crabs, or throw a rope in or something. We can listen. If we put our brains together, we can probably all ram the side of this bucket and knock it over. We all get out. But there's this fight for scarcity, out of fear of missing out, not enough to go around. I totally have those people in my circle, or I've tried to weave them out. And by default, eventually with time, they do get woven out of your circle. But you got to have a circle of people. That you heard the term, show me your friends and I'll show you your future. What type of people are you hanging out with? I can show you better than I can tell you. Let me show you. I'm through telling. I'm excited. I try to move in silence a lot. I work on stuff people don't hear from me. What you doing, man? I'm working on what you working on. You'll see. It's almost done. Watch when I release it. And nobody can speak into that. Nobody can try to discourage you. Once you got to be focused, man, fully focused. You got to want to succeed or want that thing more than you are comfortable with not having it. But a lot of people are comfortable. So, hey, it is what it is. You're comfortable in that situation. You're comfortable in that house. You're comfortable with those friends, because whatever, you scared to be alone, scared that if you succeed, they'll talk about you or stop being friends, whatever the case is. But you got to get clear on what it is that you want to bring to the table in today. I say in 2022, but today is the day. Today, the power of a moment. 2022 is all about the now moment. That's the only moment we're going to have in 2022. There is no such thing as 2022. It is about the now. It is about being present. It is about being focused. You're making something happen. You're always making something happen. You're always responding. You're always manifesting. That's the thing that you don't know, is that you're always doing it, even when you're unconsciously doing it. You're an example to somebody. You're a testimony to somebody. You're an example. Hopefully it's a good example. Maybe it's all the examples, but hopefully it's a good one. Like I said, I quoted this lyric yesterday, but in my song I say, I'm an example of what God can do through a life laid down in surrender. A life laid down in surrender to the process. Surrender everything. Surrender your excuses. Surrender your will. Surrender your delight and take up the things that God likes and delights in. Love, peace, justice, unity. It's not easier said than done. It's actually easier done than said. It's hard to articulate this. This is what we're doing. The beautiful thing is that we're starting to. I'm starting to. Many people are starting to. Science is starting to prove, what mysticism has been teaching for years. The scientific methods. There's NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. We're able to, the science of spirituality, the two go hand in hand. I love it. They have to go hand in hand. Not just science, not just spirituality, but your anatomy, also astrology. Like everything has to, for something to be truth, for something to be a universal law, it's got to be universal for all of them. There's no reason that it only works for these guys and not those guys. Where Bob can do it, TruthSeekah can do it, but I can't do it. No, you can do it. And I'm here to take away your excuses. And I want people in my life that take away my excuses. Because we start coming up with them. Self-sabotage excuses, financial excuses, excuses where we don't deserve things in our life. I'm a vile sinner, and there's no good thing within me. We got all of these excuses that we've got from like bad interpretations of the scriptures or bad examples from parents or bad programming through the television shows that you've watched. Bad examples because of the music that you listen to. The mantras that are playing over and over in your head because of bad music. Talked about it yesterday. We're going to talk about it again. Because it's for somebody. You got to quit listening to that stuff. You do. Illuminati Congo got a song called The 4 Laws of Wealth. That song pumps me up when it comes to listening to positive music, especially music about manifestation and wealth and money. And one of the songs, there's a couple go-to songs. There's a couple. I just said one of them a while ago. I just kind of talked the lyrics, but it's You've Got to Go by Above and Beyond. I remember when I started doing sessions and like that Imposter Syndrome came up. Oh, what are you doing, man? Are you really ready to give advice? Can you help somebody work through their problems? Should you be charging for this? Your friends say you're going to hell for charging for this. This should be done for free. All of your friends. The people that you rub shoulders with, they're talking crap about you for charging for sessions. You're supposed to do these sessions for free. Well, that guy who's making fun of me and telling me not to charge, he's a personal trainer in the gym and he charges for sessions. It's different though. This is spiritual advice. This is spiritual advice. That's supposed to be free. He does physical advice. Man, get out of here. Ego and all this stuff fighting. Trying to tell me who I am and who I'm not. I rebuke it in Jesus' name. Reading some of the questions here if anybody has them. Jocelyn says, ever since my deconstruction from mainstream Christianity, I found a new light in Jesus. For sure. There's a new level. There's a new level that you can't get to in Jesus or in the light. He's the light of the world. That is stuck within mainstream Christianity. Now, once you get that light, you may be able to revisit it. Doesn't mean you have to like disassociate with it 100%. There's so many good things that mainstream Christianity bring to the table, but there's so much bad. Oh yeah, there is, for sure. So much bad with it all. Everything has good and bad in it. So there's a new light, that you can find in Christ, that you're limited because you're carrying this monkey on your back called mainstream Christianity, that you're not privy to go to in that other realm, to see in the new light. But I'm with you. Me too. I want to play this song just by my homie Illuminati Congo Dread. I listen to this song a lot, and there's a lot of good mantras in it when it comes to money, because man, I've had to step my game up. Shout out to Congo.
I'm getting paid just for playing.
I'm getting paid just for playing.
I got it made. I ain't complaining.
Some of y'all are complaining. You're complaining. Excuses are complaints.
I got a brain, I got a mind. I know thought is creative.
A lot of truth in this song.
I'm earning, spending, investing, and saving. Yeah, my income exceeds my expenses. I'm profitable in all my investments. Yeah, my life is rich with many blessings. I allow others to support my successes with infinite being. I have a personal connection and a huge personal fortune. It's how I express it. I'm highly pleasing in other people's presence. To myself and others, I accept divine assistance. I no longer have to ask anyone's permission to do the things I know are part of my mission. I like myself, therefore I like other people. I like myself, therefore others like me too. I deserve to be wealthy, and I know that we do. Everyone, of course, the universe supports and keeps you. Every day I'm youthing, my cells are being renewed. Outdated ideas about money are being removed. Money is my friend, my supply never ends. Whether I'm awake or sleeping, yo, it keeps coming in. My cup overfloweth after it rolls past the brim, and now I always have more money than I can spend. The symbol for money is S and the line, like the goddess Kundalini serpent rising up the spine. All human wealth is produced by the human mind, from good services or ideas you can buy.
I wanna start by saying,
I'm getting paid just for playing.
I wanna start by saying,
I got it made, I ain't complaining.
I wanna start by saying,
I got a brain, I got a mind, I know thought is creative.
I wanna start by saying,
I'm earning, spending, investing, and saving. To increase wealth, increase high quality ideas, and remove whatever blocks me from being a receiver. I could never be in poverty or needy either. I got a billionaire's a chronic ether as a conscious breather. People love paying me for what I love doing the most. Sometimes it seems like money just appearing out of smoke. I'm beautiful and kind and easy to approach. I have a surplus consciousness, I could never go broke. And even if I did, I could build it right back. The universe always provides what I lack. Prosperity consciousness, God, I on the right track. Receiving much money wherever that I'm at. Whatever I desire, I can materialize. Every dollar that
So when it comes to renewing your mind, money and music and all of that stuff comes into play. I'm going to play this other song, and this is kind of like the opposite of that song, and it may have cursing in it. I don't know. I'm just trying to play the chorus. These are mantras that you sang over yourself, right?
My daddy is I take this straight G. Bluffing, but bitch, I'm go.
So, oh yeah, it's got some cursing in it. So if you need to pause it, the children, whatever. But I'm trying to play this chorus. Because we just heard the song Illuminati Congo talking about how we deserve money and money works for you and your relationship with money. And I remember like that song sticks out to me because this song was stuck in my head as a kid, as a little kid.
Bluffing, but I ain't never had nothing. I got a whole lot of nothing. I got a whole lot of nothing.
I got a whole lot of nothing.
I got a whole lot of nothing.
That's a mantra. Over and over. You're singing over yourself. I've rebuked that. I got everything that I need. I got everything that I want. Within me, I got everything that I need. The kingdom of heaven is within me. I got that. I am that. I'm him. The person that you think you're becoming, you already are. There's little things like that you notice moving into the levels of sanctification, I would call it.
That I spend comes back to me multiplied. I won't deny the finer things in life that job provides. I source all my wealth from God's self inside. I have the right to be wealthy or do anything I like. I make money breathing and speaking on the mic. Riches come to me daily and each and every night. I even find money on the street riding on my bike. It takes less effort to be wealthy than to be poor. Look around. How can all the bounty be ignored? With every breath I take, I'm richer than before, riches galore, and I keep getting more.
I want to start by saying,
I'm getting paid just for playing.
I want to start by saying,
I got it made, I ain't complaining.
Anyway, I love that song. Good song. That's one of my go-tos. I don't listen to a lot of Congo. I love Congo. I listen to some of his stuff. I'm not but that's one that I listen to for sure. Over and over. I need it, because you get tested, man, with these levels. You make sure that you're supposed to be there, because those voices come back. Hey, man, what are you doing here? You're doing sessions. You remember that guy, that Christian dude, told you 7 years ago that you're not supposed to be charging. You know that guy told you that God was going to punish you for charging for private sessions, right? You remember he told you that, and that stuff gets stuck in your head. Man, maybe he is. Don't charge no more. Hold on, what am I doing? Like, no, you're charging for helping people work out. I'm helping people work out too, mentally, spiritually, all that. And it's profited more. The Bible says it profits more, and that a worker is worth his wages. For sure. Whatever it is that you want to do. He says, I'm getting paid to have fun. Listen, I'm having fun right now. I'm having fun. We're getting paid. There's ads on the podcast. There's people are donating. People are hearing stuff that resonates with them, and then they become patrons. Then they want to go deeper. Then they want to book a session. Listen, we're getting paid. And it's not the idea, but it just comes out of you doing what you love. Because you only get paid to do something else. I got paid doing what I hated, digging ditches, driving the truck for 14 hours a day. I hated that. I did it. I had to do it because of Adam. Because of Adam sinned and I had to work from the sweat of my brow. I rebuked that. Nah, ain't no reason that somebody sits up in the office in the AC, but I'm out there digging a ditch in the hole. I'm working harder than them and making less money. That's crazy. Heck no. These folks making it up as they go, and guess what? We get to as well. We get to as well. Whatever life that you want to create, you got the ability. Abracadabra, I bless what I speak. Pah, create it. This is what's coming. I'm going to tell you what's coming down the pipe. First of all, I'm going to tell myself what's coming down the pipe. And I get that from making sure that it is aligned with what I would call God's will for my life, perfect will for my life, my destiny, the reason I was created. Where can you use me, God, that I will be powerful and effective? Make that your prayer. Seek that. Ask the question. You don't ask the question, you'll never get the answer. Get the answer. Get clear on it. Write it down. Take a picture of it. I don't care. Get clear on your vision. There's another song by Incubus called Make Yourself. Another good song. Tiffany says, nothing wrong with hard work though. You did that. You did what you had to do, and it was honest for sure. Yeah, it was a process. It was all a learning experience. I was there until there was things I had to learn. I had to learn self-worth. I had to learn how to work hard. I had to learn so much on every job that I worked. So much that I took away from it. But as I was learning, I'm able to apply those things I've learned and got to upgrade. These lyrics for Incubus, Make Yourself. It says, if I hadn't made me, I would have been made somehow. If I hadn't assembled myself, I'd have fallen apart by now. Just talking about making yourself before you let them make you. You let the world, like, people become bitter, depressed. You're a product of your environment. They made you that way. You weren't supposed to be that. That's not your essence. These people walking around here angry, that's not their essence. Your essence is not angry. You were made angry. Something triggered you. Something cut you and you're still bleeding out. You got to identify what it is so that you can heal from it. You didn't choose that. It chose you. You got to identify it. And taking away your excuses, man. There are no more excuses. I've mapped it out for you. It can be done. I've interviewed some of the best people in these fields. And yeah, they charge. Yeah, I charge. But you don't even need to do a charge session. You can listen to these podcasts. You can read the books. Like, just know that you say yes to the process. It is the initiation to take that step forward. When that thing tells you no or why you can't, you move forward. Jocelyn says, I was told a couple months ago by a good pastor of mine that he hoped I would encounter the real Jesus. And sure enough, a couple months later, I did. Amen. The real Jesus. There's a song called My Jesus by Todd Agnew, which is really good, about the real Jesus. About how he wouldn't be welcomed in church. And they started playing that on the radio and everything. They made him change some of the words because the real Jesus is like, you don't fit in everybody's box. But that's a good song to go check out too. Todd Agnew, My Jesus. Listen, we're going to jump off of here. We're going to go ahead and call it a morning. Got stuff to do. Got to go to the gym. Got to work on the form a little bit. Been working on the form, guys. I'm excited about the form. You have to build a container, and that's what I've been doing, trying to figure it out. But for people who are patrons, you get access to it. It is a community form, and it's well structured. Patreon is cool, but sometimes it's hard to find the content. Where's the meditations? Where's the music? Where's the link to School of the Mystics? Where's the link to ask a question on Zoom? Where's it at? Do we send that out every time? If we send out an email every time, people get, they feel like it's spam. So no, we don't need to send out emails every time we do something. But the forum is going to set up in such a way where it's easy. You just click on music. All my music pops up. You click on meditation. all my meditations pop up. You click on discussion, all discussions pop up. You can ask me questions. You can ask the community questions. I can ask you questions. And I really like that because we can keep going back to the discussion. And I really love forums. I love dialogue and getting deep. And so that's what I've been working on, bringing that to the table. The Sovereign Vessel says Patreon is restructuring, hopefully easier. Yeah, I got that email too. And so they said they're going to make it easier to navigate. So that's cool. But this integrates with Patreon too. So as long as you're signed up on Patreon, this is just something extra. So even if they do restructure and it looks better and it's easier to use, it ain't going to be like this, like an old school form. So I got everything there, like easier to find and navigate. And if it doesn't do something, you can easily like install a plugin to make it do what you need it to do. So really cool. Really cool. So check it out. If you want to check it out right now, you can go to truthseekah.com/forum, or just go to truthseekah.com and click on forum at the top and you'll be directed there. I'm going to share the link out with all of the patrons here soon. So if you're already a patron, you're going to see the link pop up, and then I'll have a way to get to it from Patreon. But you can get to it from the website as well. And super excited. We're going to be doing School of the Mystics tonight, and then Sunday morning breath work, and moving onward and upward so we can get into this stuff together. We'll be doing a live stream and doing prayer sessions and just kind of just going for it, and opening up for Q&A and just a hangout, community hangout afterwards for all the patrons. So we may do a Bible study. We may do a teaching. Not sure. Want to be open and see what Spirit has next. But I am excited, I will say that. And that's what it's about, keeping up the excitement. Getting new information, because then you can make an assessment. Then you got to choose a direction. You got to figure out, do we keep going this direction or do we change it up? We're going to change it up. We got to change some things. You'll be a fool to keep doing the same thing over and over expecting different results. You're insane. This next time it'll work, man. No, it ain't been working, dude. Give it up. Try it differently. Throw your nets on the other side of the boat. Well, we've been fishing all night on that side. Well, try the other side. Okay, I'll try it. And I promise you that you'll bring in a harvest that you can't even contain. Do it a little bit different. You're doing a good thing. Keep it up. Try it a little bit different. Try to quit marginalizing people. Try to quit taking jabs at people. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's like self-sabotage. Hold on, dude. Like, you got to stop that. That's weird. Why are you doing that? You build something up and then you knock it down. Rebuild it. We all do that in different ways. Friendships, relationships, businesses, all that. I do it and I've done it and I continue to do it. It's one way that we learn, but it's the deal. Are you learning from it? Are you learning? You got to take something from it to learn. And you got to salute it. You got to give it a namaste. Thank you for illuminating that in my life. That wound, that self-sabotage, that imposter syndrome. Because if you think you're just a victim, you are. But we're supposed to be victors. Use that thing that was a setback to literally be a setup, to be a slingshot, to launch you into your destiny and bring about God's perfect will for your life, what you're supposed to be doing. And once you find that, boom, you're good. Everything opens up because you're supposed to be there. And it could come through jealousy, but let the jealousy turn into inspiration. Be inspired. Don't be jealous. Don't be a hater. Be inspired. That's what shifts it all. Saying nothing changes. The only thing that changes is the way that you see the thing, see the person. Let go of all the haterade. Stop drinking the haterade. It's not good for you. So, Roger says, I used to be afraid of make yourself, as if I was saying I wasn't allowing God to work in me. Yeah, I think it's I see what you're saying, but I think it's more of working with God, right? Because that's the thing. Being on autopilot and being negative and all of that stuff, we're working against God. So we're making ourselves regardless, whether you work with or against God. And I think that's the thing, is a lot of people on autopilot are working against. Once you become aware that you can work with the Creator to bring about this desired transformation, manifestation upon the earth, and be whatever He has shown you, you got to say yes to it. It is the will. It is the, the process of sanctification, of transformation. It is a way to do it, a right way and a wrong way. But it's about saying yes, but continually saying yes. To believe that He who started the good work within you is faithful and just to see it through unto completion. The promises of God are yes and amen. So you got to get the vision. You got to know who you are in Christ, and know who and what your calling is, what you were created to do, what brings joy to your heart. For some people, that's painting. For other people, that's preaching. Like, there's preachers who aren't called to preach. They're preachers because they thought they had to be, because that's what Christians do, as an honorable service unto God. He called you as a preacher. They maybe heard it their whole life. You're called as a preacher, brother. You got an anointing to preach on you. All of this kind of stuff. But when you meet those people, you find out quickly that they're not supposed to be doing that. Why? Because they're bitter. They're angry. They have no joy in their hearts. All of those people. So you got to understand and know what you're supposed to be doing and do it. And it's between you and God. It ain't between you and whoever sees that vision in you or that potential in you. It ain't between. They ain't got to see it. I respect the fact that you do, and I thank you, but it ain't, it ain't on them. It's between you and God. Not everybody can see the potential. No, you got to get a vision. Most of the time, the visions that God gives, other folks ain't finna see it. It's hard to get people to come alongside, but every now and then you have people that will ride with you regardless. Tell me where we're headed, and I'm ready to go. I'm riding with you regardless. I believe in you. Let's do it. And those are the people you need in your life, not people who are trying to talk you out or discourage you and all this kind of stuff. So, and Vanna, you asked a question at the very beginning. You said, you asked, why are most people born? Okay, you said, why are we negative by default? ? Okay, I would say the ungodly belief is that because of the fall of Adam, all have sinned and come short of the glory of God. The ungodly belief is that you're stuck there. And even in Christ, you're stuck there. Like you're stuck in Adam or whatever. The truth is, whatever theology you want to go down or believe, or hey, it's on you. Whatever you believe, it becomes real for you, just so you know. The truth is, we're not born good or bad. We're not born negative. We're all neutral. We're all born neutral. And through programming, through the environment, through what we've learned and been taught and how we respond and what we've been shown how to respond, then we can take steps towards the light or towards darkness. You said, why are we negative? That's either you could take a step towards positivity or a step the other way, the downward spiral, and go towards negativity with all of the things that you've learned and what you've watched. And when it comes to like sin, though, is it a sin for to do these things? it's not necessarily a sin to do the things that you did, because you had no knowledge of it. You didn't know any better. It was all you were shown. This is what we knew. This is where we're from. Jacques Fresco can break it down really dope about the headhunters in India, and the kids who went to, with their parents in the Colosseum and watched the Christians that were killed for sport and made them fight lions and tigers. Like, that's what they did. It was their normal. Like, can we go watch the blood sport at the Colosseum this weekend? Not if you don't clean your room. Okay. Well, clean your room and I'll take you down there. We'll watch it. Can I get a t-shirt? We'll buy you a t-shirt. Like, that was their normal. They were born in that. They didn't have any conception, any concept of that this was bad. But it's when the light comes in, it's when you find out, hold on, this isn't right, man. Somebody questions it, man, what is this? This isn't right. It's illuminated to you because of the light. It's revealed to you. Everybody's not born knowing that. You're born in the trailer park knowing that. You're born in the ghetto with the belief that there's a lot of beliefs. It's said in movies, it's said in music, and there's truth to it. It became their truth. It is their truth, and it's a code of conduct. That it's the reality that it's a miracle to live past 21. Nobody gets out of the ghetto. Like, all of these weird beliefs that aren't truths, but they become your truth when you believe it. And how do you believe it? When you see it around you. And yeah, most people die before 21. No, why though? You didn't ask why? Why? There's a reason why. You can easily move out. Well, it's not that easy. My mom has a job. I can get a job. Well, listen, there's ways around it. No, it's not. We're born in it. We can't afford regular housing. You know what the Mexicans do here? You know what the Mexicans do? The Mexicans, their whole family live in a trailer. They all pay $25 a month. They get nice trailers and nice vehicles. There's so many of them, and they pay very little, and they all live together like a commune. They here to work, stack their money. You got 17 people living in the house. 5 in the back, 5 in the living room, 5 in the bedroom. Grandma's in there too, family. And they're working hard. They stack their money. They send their money back home. It's worth more. It's totally happening. Like, there's a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. There's no will. Hopefully you'll be shown. Maybe you'll look at somebody else that's making it happen and say, you know what, this is possible. It is possible. What? To get out the ghetto, to get out the trailer park, to make something of yourself. Listen, our plights are different, but we're human. Like, it's similar. We all got the same cranium. We all got the same 24 hours. Y'all think people got different. What I can do with 24 hours is different than so-and-so can do with 24 hours. A lot of people claim they want something, but they're not willing to work for it. You're not finna ride my coattail, man. I'm sorry. You got to show up. We can work together. And right when I said that, work together, Tiffany comments and says, the Mexicans work together as a team. Wow. I said, we can work together. That's what they work together. So that's the difference in what you got in a lot of hoods. But the Mexicans are working together as a team, their family, their cousins, all these people working together. And in the hood, you got a lot of people working against each other. Not just not working together, but literally working against each other. Because it's crab in the bucket. And you got to look at your own life. Where all of your members are working together in you. All of your minds, all of your personas are working together. The ego, having a conversation with the Holy Spirit, having a conversation with God. Listen, these three are one. They work together. What? They work together. Father, Son, and Holy Spirit works against each other. They work together. Satan works against God. They work together. The demons work against God. They work together. All things work together for the good of those who love God. You're right, Tiffany. We got to work together. If they working together, why can't we? All things work together for the good. Some things work together. No. All things work together. All things work together for the equal treatment of mankind. No. All things work together for the good of those that love God. That'll say, yeah. What's that mean, love God? It means if you love me, you'll obey me. You'll keep my commandments, for they're not grievous. Love, forgive, cherish, honor, respect, humility, grace, long-suffering, peace, joy. Listen, we're working together. I'm working with those spirits. The guy asked me yesterday, Kai, he said, what's the spirits that influence your music? I'm working, what's the spirits that you work with? And I'll talk about that in my music. I said in one of my songs, I said, I'm excommunicated. Now my only friends are spirits that speak to me when I'm lonely and understand the way that I'm feeling. My sanity say I'm losing. I swear to God, the stars are moving. The truth is hidden in plain sight and revealed within the movies. Maybe it sounds foolish. It's clueless the way you do this. The demonize human beings and pray that they come to ruins. It's true, and it's my desire that fire will burn away your fear. So know that God is love, and there's a reason that it brought you here. Working together. Working with the spirits. What spirits? Yeah, spirit of love, spirit of peace, spirit of joy, spirit of creativity. Come on, man. Let them work together. They are one. They formulate you. All your beliefs are spirits. All of your beliefs are essences and ideas about yourself. Make them work together. Like Solomon did. Remember Solomon used the demons the spirits to help him build the temple? Well, your temple's being built too. Put them to work. Make them work for you, not against you. Transmute them. See what they're really about. See if they got something to offer. All of your hurt, it's there for a reason. It's just not there. Your hurt's there for a reason. What's the reason, man? It's so you don't hurt nobody, because you know how it feels to be hurt. You're right. Or you're a victim and it just is. And there's an excuse. You're right. Yeah, we're right. Whatever we say, it becomes truth. And you get to pick. No, I don't like when he says that. That's against the word of God. Okay, well, better go back to the word of God and see what else you can find. But you got to be like the sister a while ago says she went back and saw the real Jesus when she let go of some things, some limitations, some limiting beliefs. Whatever's limiting you. Listen, if it's a friend that's limiting you, get rid of them. Listen, man. Listen, Jesus was finna cut Peter off. Jesus was about to cut Peter off. He's telling them his goal. Listen, guys, this is what we're doing. I'm going to reveal to you what the Father showed me. I've got to go to the cross. I've got to endure the cross, not only for you, but for the sins of the entire world. I'm going to carry the sins of the world, and God will remember their sins no more. I will be beaten and I will be marred beyond comprehension. But me doing that is going to set nations free for generations to come. Peter's like, nah, man, we're not going to do that. Listen, we finna build a business. There's another way, Lord. You don't have to die yet. Maybe at the end of your life, do it. Not yet. Come on, you're 33, man. He's trying to talk him out of the cross, like the vision that God has given him. God gave him the vision. Listen, this is what I'm doing to fulfill all righteousness. It's going to happen. Peter tried to talk him out of it. He rebuked him. Get behind me, Satan, for you don't have in mind the things of God, but the things of men. You're thinking about the moment. I'm thinking about eternity. You're thinking about yourself. Them friends that they don't see the vision. Either you can show them and they can get on board, or say, hey, I'll holler at you when I'm from the bunker. I'll holler at you from wherever it is you're going. Give you a shout out on my podcast. Peace, everybody. Hope y'all enjoyed this talk. I did. I love approaching this stuff from different angles. It's angles. And then, you know what? We bring all the angles together. Formulates a diamond, formulates a rainbow, and we have light that hits that. Many colors, many expressions. That's what it's about. Don't miss an episode. Don't miss a live stream. Tonight, we're going to be going in School of the Mystics. We're going to do hangout, discussion, study, prayer, all that cool stuff. If that's what you are into and you're looking for a community, go to Patreon, patreon.com/TruthSeekah. Get with me there. You can get access to a bunch of cool stuff, all of my music, past live streams, bunch of cool stuff. All my meditations are there too. So with that, I'm gonna say peace and shalom. We'll do it again, guys. Peace, peace, peace.
Your way is so much higher than mine, so much higher than mine, so much deeper than mine, so much deeper than mine.
Well, that does it for this episode, folks. To hear more episodes of the TruthSeekah podcast, head over to TruthSeekah.com. And if you're wanting to support the show and get rewards, go to our Patreon page at patreon.com/TruthSeekah.